Hi Studio Calico friends, this is Paige Evans and today I'm sharing a layout that I made featuring digital die cuts. So I used these little leaves by Hello Forever, and on the Underground Project Life digital stamps, that teeny tiny leaf on the bottom left, I turned it into a big leaf. So here is the finished layout, and I will show you step by step in this start to finish video how this layout came to be. So the first thing I did is I turned that little leaf into a cut file and I made it really big. And while it is still stuck on the mat, I am going to watercolor over it using Mr. Huey's. And I know it's a Cricut mat and not a Silhouette mat, but I live in the middle of nowhere and I needed a new mat, and this is what they had at my PX, which is kind of like a Target, but definitely not a Target. Anyway, let's get back to the layout. So I am choosing fall colors, just dipping my paintbrush into a cup of water, getting it nice and wet, picking up some color, and painting around the edge. So I do this while the paper is still stuck on the mat so that it doesn't warp as much. It still does crinkle a little bit, but I think having it stuck down there while it dries keeps it a little bit flatter. This might be avoided by using actual watercolor paper, but I do not have any, so this is the method that I have found that works pretty well. Once you've got all your watercolor in place, you can set the leaf aside to dry, and while it is drying, die cut a whole bunch of leaves from all of the Underground kits. So that includes Picadilly, Notting Hill, and King's Cross. And with this copper metallic floral paper from the main Underground kit, I'm going to start layering these die cut pattern paper leaves all across the page. I'm kind of eyeballing how the large leaf will fit on top, but I just put a leaf down and I'm working my way out. I like to make sure that there's not two of the same pattern next to each other. If you've watched any of my videos with lots of pattern papers, that's kind of the technique that I like to use in most cases. So once I've got a nice big block covered, I will peel off my dried large cardstock leaf, just the stencil, and put it on top. Wonderful. I'm going to lightly adhere it down I plan to stitch around it. I get a lot of questions about a layout I made a while ago using this kind of same technique of watercoloring and stitching with colored thread, so I want to show you how I did this. So I'm taking an Amy Tangerine paper piercer and I'm going along the outside of the leaf about every 1/4 inch and just poking a hole, staying about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. And just going all the way around. And I will skip over to where I'm almost finished. It's not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but it's fun to do. Just sit in front of your favorite show, currently watching Sherlock, and I find this whole process very therapeutic. I just love scrapbooking. Okay, so finished going all the way around the layout, poking holes. And now I'm taking yellow because that is what color is painted right here. So I'm going to stitch yellow until it changes into a different color, and then yes, I'm going to switch the color of my thread. So this whole process of stitching around the leaf took about an hour. I was able to do it during my kids' nap, and I call that a success when I can get a layout done while the kids are napping. So once I've reached the end of the yellow section of watercolor, I'm switching over to a pink thread because that's what color is right here. That's what color is next, and I will begin where I left off and continue stitching. This is a simple back stitch. Very basic, very easy. If you took my stitch class, you saw me do this many times. Alright, so about an hour later, I've stitched all the way around the leaf, and here I'm just finishing it up. Going to tie the knot. And then, since part of the foil paper is sticking off the edges, I'm just going to trim around it. Get rid of that excess. And then it's time for the big reveal. There we go. So that is the main focal point. Since I have such a large focal point, I'm going to keep my embellishments to a minimum. Just do just a couple clusters of embellishments and call it good. So I've trimmed this tag in half, and I'm putting an F for fall. It's also perfect because I'm using this picture of fox, so it can be F for fox as well. And I'm just layering some stickers underneath just to draw your eye across the entire layout. I love these wood veneer pieces by Pink Fresh Studio. And then finishing the title with these mini white alphabet stickers from Ellie Studio. F is for, I originally did call it fox, but since it was taken during the fall, I'm changing it to F is for fall. For a bit of journaling, I'm using this tag and turning it upside down because that sentiment just didn't quite apply to this layout. And once I started journaling, I accidentally smudged it, but that's okay, it wiped right off, and I continued on my merry way and finished up the journaling, which you can read in the comments below. And that is how I featured die cuts on this layout. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you next time.